The US pilot who safely landed a plane carrying 155 passengers on New York's Hudson River has urged political and business leaders in Davos to look beyond short-term results to deliver long-term benefits. Now, Chesley Sullenberger III, the former US Airways pilot, is speaking at the World Economic Forum. He also spoke exclusively to NDTV.
It's such a pleasure to be talking to you here in Davos. I've got to start by telling you that we all watched across the world that miraculous landing on the Hudson River. And you're here to talk about leadership under pressure. And many people have used the phrase grace under pressure for you when they look at those pictures. But were you really able to keep your composure in those last few minutes before you made that landing on the Hudson River?
People often say that I was calm, and it's kind of a professional calm that pilots learn to use. And it's not so much calm as it is having the discipline to compartmentalize one's mind and focus on the task at hand in spite of my body's normal physiological reaction to this sudden life-threatening stress.
What was going through your mind at that time? When the birds hit the plane and both the engines went, in that split second, what did your mind tell yourself?
Well, it was a split second right before we jumped into action. And my first two conscious thoughts I remember distinctly, and they were both rooted in disbelief. My first thought was, this can't be happening. And my second was, this doesn't happen to me. In other words, all my flights have been something I could easily handle. And I knew immediately that this was not going to be like that. This was going to be an ultimate challenge of a lifetime. And
you decided to land on the river because there was no other option, really? Because the other option was New York City, and that wasn't an option.
Well, from my experience, and from flying out of New York, I knew that there were only two runways anywhere near us. LaGuardia, from which we had departed, which we were still heading away from at that point, and descending rapidly with no thrust. Teterboro across the river in New Jersey, and I decided that we couldn't make either one of them. So the only place left that wasn't completely developed with high-rise buildings was the river.
And explain to people who don't know anything about flying, why it's so complicated to land on a river.
Well, first of all, as compared to a normal landing, there was no thrust to make it a more gradual descent. So we were using gravity to provide the forward motion of the airplane, to provide the air over the wings to provide lift. And that meant that we were going to have to very carefully choose the exact split-second moment to begin to raise the nose and trade some of that forward motion for a reduced rate of descent and time it perfectly so that the time we touch the water, we're at the proper attitude and we have reduced our sink rate as much as possible.